Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Tableau Tunnel series. I'm Nad and thank you for joining me today. So, as you can see, as you can tell by my background, I've been a little busy and there have been some changes in my life. So, I'm currently in the UK. I am in England at Stoke-on-Trent. So, I will be doing my master's here at Staffordshire University in sports journalism. So yeah, that's why it's been a while since I uploaded my last tutorial. But yeah, enough about me. Today we are here to discuss how you can create a trend line of a player's expected goals performance, and you can look at their overperformance and underperformance on a broader scale by the use of something we call rolling averages or moving averages. So if you wish to look at their performance in terms of XG over a certain period of time, say over a season, then you can look at their performance using a 10-game moving average or a 5-game moving average, depending on the number of games they've played. Okay, so yeah, that's what we'll be looking at today. And if you guys like this in a future tutorial, I can show you how to add more granularity to this, and you can then look at their finishing profile, and you can assess how their finishing has improved over time and how much they've overperformed or underperformed in their career. But okay, so today what we are looking at is simply their um, XG performance. So we're looking at the trends in XG of a player. Okay, so the player that we'll be looking at today is Romelu Lukaku. And to collect the data, what I generally use nowadays is something called the World Football R package, which has been developed um, by just a second, right, by Jason here, whose package this is. So the World Football R package. So you can see here that you can collect data from FBRF, from Transfer Market, from Understat, and everything is very, very simple to follow. All the functions have their own instructions within RStudio. So if you've never used RStudio before, it's very, very simple. I still have zero coding language. If you ask me to code something, I probably wouldn't be able to do it, but I'm still able to use this code fairly simply. And that's just credit to Jason's work on the package so far, that even a simple, a simple database person like me is able to use this without practically any coding language of R. Okay, so yeah, there are different functions here that you can use to collect data from Football Reference, from Understat, and from Transfer Market. And as always, please make sure that you are crediting JSON if you're using this package, and of course the data source as well. Okay, so yeah, I used his World Football R package to collect um, Romelu Lukaku's data from his match logs from FBRF. So if you don't know where the match logs are, they're usually right here. So if you want to look at a specific player, go to the match logs section, and then so we've had expected goals data since 2017-18 season on FBRF. So that's what we will be looking at. Right. So you can see here these tables here. Yeah. So they have some um, performance metrics here. You have shots, of goals, assists, pressures applied, touches on the ball, and then you have the expected metrics, and you have shot creating actions, carries, progressive carries, dribbles, and so forth. Okay, so all of this data I collected using the World Football R package by first of all loading these libraries here, Tidyverse and World Football R, and then assigning the collected tables to these variables here. So these are just assigning variables. So Lukaku 2021 is the 2021 season data, and 2020, 2019, 2018. Okay. Now, since we have 2021-22 season as well, I'm just going to add an extra line here, and I'm going to say 2022. Yeah, and pretty much going to copy the same thing here. Okay, don't have to change much. And all I'm really going to do is change the season end here, and that should be that. Okay, sorry, it's Lukaku here. Right. Okay, so that's Lukaku 2022 FP player match logs. So you can see here So I've used the function which is called FB player match logs. And if you want to understand how you can use this function, the correct syntax for it, you can find it right here in the I want to say this is the help box. Let's just call it the help box. But yeah, so the usage you can see here is the FB player match logs, and this is the syntax. So within the circular braces, you have the player URL. What is this here within the double inverted quotes, and then you have the season end year, which is 2022, and then the start time, which is summary. Okay. So because these are summary tables, right? So this is the start type here, summary. If I want to look at passing numbers specifically, I'll select passing, pass types, ball shot creation, defensive actions, possession, miscellaneous stats, and so forth. You get the picture, right? So yeah, this is pretty much it. And then once you've sort of collected this data, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'll run this first line here. So Control Enter to run it. Now you can see the code is running because there's a stop symbol here. Okay, the code has run, and then you have the data here. This is the data frame. If I want to double click on it, you can, and then you see this is all of Lukaku's data so far up until Chelsea's 3-0 victory yesterday against Tottenham. Okay, so similarly, I've collected his data for the previous season and the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that. Okay, but now that you've collected all of this data, you want to be able to export it and be able to use it into whatever visualization platform that you use, right? So it's very simple to do that. Once you have the data here, what you use is called the write.csv function. So what you want to do here is you want to input the variable that you are using. So let's say we want to, we want to download the 2022 season data that we just got. So Lukaku 2022. And what I'm going to do here, so this address here, this is the the working directory address within your system, right? So I'm just going to call this educate22. So what you have here is the address of where the CSV file will be saved after R has processed the line. Okay, so I'm going to run this line, and I should have educate22. Fantastic. All right, so open file location. As you can see here, educate22 is here. So that's good. What I'll do is I will transfer this to Kaku here. So we have the LUK 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I've done these, as you can see, quite some time ago already. And this is the latest one. Okay, so this is how you use JSON's package here to collect the data from football reference, and then you can convert it to CSV format, and then you can use it however you wish to. Okay, so now that I have the data, the next thing to do is to visualize it, right? So let's open up Tableau and connect to data. Okay, text file, let's call it that. Go to documents and go to the working directory where you've saved the file. Okay, so, all right, one more thing, sorry. What you can do normally is you can connect to each of these files individually, but to make your work easier, what you can just do is club all of them into one Excel file. That just makes your work easier. Okay, so I think I've already done all of that for until here. Yeah, so you can see here I have data until 2017, which is great. So that's what we need. And what I'll do here is I'll superimpose, or I'll just transfer all of this data from here. Yeah. Make sure that you are following the formatting. Or just Control A, Control. Yeah, if you just hit Control A, you can just copy all of the data as it is. There we go. Okay, so remove that. And this A row here is A column is not important, so you can just remove that. And yeah, there we go. All right. Okay. So now that we have all of this data for all of his competitions from the 2017-18 season up to the current season, let's save this file here. Okay, let's save LUK 2021 and then open it up in Tableau. All right. Okay. So now that we've opened up the file, let's use data interpreter so that your data is in the correct format and Tableau can understand what you're trying to do with it. Okay. So your numbers are your numbers, and yeah, that should be fine. Okay. But in case if there is some problem with your conversion, so don't worry about it. Just hit convert to measure. That should be fine. Convert to measure here. Some of them will not be successfully converted sometimes, but that's all right. It's not too much of a problem. Okay, so we have non-penalty expected goals. We should have non-penalty goals as well. Do we have penalty kicks here? All right, we do. So fantastic. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'll just quickly create a calculated field which can tell us non-penalty goals. Okay. So let's just call it non-penalty goals. Goals GLS minus PK. Okay. So these are penalty kicks score. Right. So this is non-penalty goals. All right. So now all that you really need to do is yeah. So there's two ways you can proceed from here. What you can do is you can just create a calculated field that says over or underperformance as per non-penalty expected goals, and you can go, yeah. What? Give me a second. Am I getting this right? Squad shooter. All right, cool. So yeah, non-penalty goals minus non-penalty expected goals. Right. Okay, so now that we have that, let's drop that on columns and let's drop date on rows. Okay, so you can see here you have something, but it's not what we want. So let's go right click on date in row columns, go for more, go month, day, year. Okay, so now you can see it's very disjointed. Yeah. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to introduce a table calculation, and let's call it a moving calculation. So what we're going to do is do a moving average of, let's say, because we have a bigger sample size here, so let's use a 15 game moving average, and let's say null if there are not enough values. Okay, so wherever their values are null, Tableau simply won't include them in the in the collection of the data. Right. Okay. So I think okay, so this is still a little bit noisy, I feel, but yeah. So this is one of I'd say the drawbacks of looking at simply the raw non-penalty exceed numbers. If you want more granularity, it's always better. If you're looking at the finishing on a shot by shot basis, so that gives you a better picture. But let's see if we can make this a little bit smoother. Let's say 20 goals, 25 games, 30 games. I don't know. I'm going to let's just stick with 15. All right. So the next thing to do is to what's that one? Okay, so now you can see this is his finishing profile so far, 19th September 2021. So that was yesterday. Okay, so now you can leave this as it is, or you can change it a little bit. So now this is an area type graph. Okay, right. What else do we have to do here? All right. So this is all of his competitions here. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly just look at his performance in Serie A, and primarily because there's less variance in these competitions. So now you see that there is a slightly better picture of his performances. So let's make sure that we are adjusting for that as well. Right. So 10 league games. So this is only his performance in domestic competitions so far. Okay. So one thing I like to do to make this sort of aesthetically better is to change the color of the axis of the numbers below 0. So that gives you a clear differentiation between the overperformance or the underperformance of the player. So let's do that. And what we'll do is I'll just quickly pick up over or underperformance once again. I'll do that. Add a table calculation, add a moving calculation, add an average, 10, not the number of values, and yeah, okay. So now that you see, we have the same looking graphs on top of each other, right? So, uh, sorry. Hmm. Okay, so now that we have these two together, now it's time to combine them. How you can combine them is by editing the axis. Okay, so you want to fix this axis to a certain start and a certain end. Okay, so let's give it a start of 0. Yep, and let's uh, let's give the bottom axis an end of 0. Okay, so that the graph starts at the very bottom of the axis and then it ends here. Okay, so now you can see there is a clear differentiation between this performance. So you can see blue and red, and that looks good. So let's format this and make it look a little bit nicer. We can do this. Remove the 0 marks, remove trend lines. So these are all aesthetic changes that you can choose to skip if you wish to. I generally like to do them because I mean, I've put a lot of, whenever you make a visualization, you always try to put a good amount of work into it. And you always want to put the right finishing touches to it. So yeah, let's do that. Um, okay, I think this looks good. Um, let's change the upper one to something a little better. Okay, how about something? Yeah, I think that's slightly better. Okay. So what you can, what you can also do is you can add a border to these things if you wish to. Yeah, if that's something that you like, you can do this. Okay. So over performance. I'm gonna edit the title of the axis here. And this will be underperformance. Okay, so normally the calculus non-penalty XG trend line in domestic competitions. Premier League and Serie A data only, valid from 2017 to 19 September 2021, data from StatsBomb, my FBref, collected using World Football by Jason. I think Jason's. Yep. Right, you can change this part here. A little bit smaller. Okay, I think we are just about done with this. Yeah. Okay. So if you want to, you can remove this. And yeah, this looks a little better. And then you can add whichever games that you wish to highlight. And if you have the opponent in the menu and all of these different things in the tooltips, you can understand which game lies where on this. Okay, so yeah. Okay, I think I've gone on long enough, but yeah, this is pretty much it, guys. And then once you're done with this, I'm just gonna export the worksheet onto a dashboard here. So yeah, do that, and make sure that your dashboard's format is also the same as your background. There we go. And then yeah, this is just pretty much it. Then you are good to go from here. So you can see here all of his games, different dates in the Premier League and Serie A. If you want to add that to the tooltip as well, then you can see which opponent he's played against and which competition is that particular date in reference to. So you can add that, you can add opponent, you can add noteworthy goals as well. Tooltip. All right, so there goes. He scored twice against Villa. He scored against Milan, against Napoli, against Southampton. All right, so these are all the final details. But yeah, I think this is pretty much it. Yeah, if you've come to the end of this tutorial, I hope you feel that you've learned something by the end of this. If you find this useful enough, let me know in the comments, and then I can probably introduce a quicker tutorial on how to create finishing profiles using understat data. And it's not just, these tutorials are not just limited to the type of data source you're using. As long as you have the data, you can create these visualizations as you want. All right, so that's not a problem at all. So similarly, if you have the understat data of the particular player that you are looking at, if you have their XG on a match per match basis, if you have their shot volume, if you have their the XG of the individual shots, that should do for the next tutorial. But yeah, for now, this is it. This is looking at non-penalty XG trend lines and looking at specific players. So I've looked at Romelu Lukaku here because he's a personal favorite of mine. But if you wish to look at someone else and if you want to visualize their numbers, it's totally up to you. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me in the comments about any doubts you have. And yeah, I hope this tutorial has been useful for you. And yeah, until next time, stay safe. And I hope you're doing okay and getting vaccinated if you can. And yeah, goodbye for now. Yeah, take care. Bye bye.